Thokozani tribe. I like people who are showing up on time. Joseph, welcome. Pagama, Loiso, welcome. You guys have been here. I mean, tribe. Joseph has been parking here since 7:30. That's some real commitment to teachings, right? It also shows how important this topic is today, because I also saw from Facebook where people were saying like, "Yo, Gogo, this the story of my life. This is what's going on with me. I so can't wait for this. Why Vele do things fall apart when you're spiritually gifted? My life is a mess. Mjolo is showing me flames. I'm struggling. I can't breathe. I can't cope." So that's been the narrative. That's been the story that we get a lot from healers and from people who are actually gifted to become healers, because we feel like the struggle begins ephelweni, and the struggle even begins before you go ephelweni. So yeah, I'm Kokodina Ondlanzi, the Karanga Queen, the one and only Karanga Queen. Umandlanzi no Krumayo. Welcome. Thank you so much. Please remember to subscribe, Tribe on YouTube, so you do not miss any of my teachings. Put your notification buttons on. Even if you didn't see me posting, you will automatically get a reminder that Gogo is live, so you can actually catch this live. The gift of doing this live thing is that you get an opportunity to engage because it's interactive. You can ask questions. And well, the gift of doing it here is it gets saved, so you can replay it over and over again. So, tribe, I've got 2 international consultations that I must do. I already started one, because my day was a little bit off my plans. So I had to start another one later. So I will have to end this one on time. So I don't have extra time beyond 9 p.m. because I've got clients that are waiting for me to consult. If you didn't know, I do international visual consultations. They are like this. So you are seeing me and you are talking to me live. It's not a WhatsApp chat. It is not a DM on Instagram. Even when you are not in Gauteng, I normally do recommend people to book an online consultation, but some people love to see the face to face. And I'm like, rather do that, they come to the institute when you come for your treatments, because most of our treatments are facilitated at the institute. But for our international clients, some treatments we can actually help you, we can facilitate them while you are on the other side, and you get a one-on-one mentoring with me. So yeah, so if you don't want to know how to consult, pretty please, tribe member 1, I know is going to write the WhatsApp number, or you can go to my website, kokodinoondlanzi.com, and you can book there. Awesome. Welcome. So thank you so much, tribe members. So today we are talking and discussing, and let's stick to the topic, is why do things fall apart when you are spiritually gifted? Why do things fall apart when you are spiritually gifted? It is a very important question, because it is troubling to be told that your life is being messed up because there is this calling, there is this gift that is wanting you to accept, yet it is not presenting itself as such. It is presenting itself as a burden. It is presenting itself as a curse somewhat. It's presenting itself as something that leaves your palate distasteful. And that's the thing. Firstly, let's look at what are we talking about when we speak about callings or gifts. Spiritual gifts are gifts that have been gifted to us prior to our conception, prior to our birth, prior to us even incarnating into a physical body. So before we were even born, the gift was already gifted. That's the primary reason of why we come on planet Earth, is because we are here to fulfill a particular mandate. We are here to fulfill a particular purpose. So the collapsing of your life, it's not only for the gifted one, it's for everyone who's called, who is not in alignment with their calling. We have been called, hence we are here. some of us are called and then some of us are chosen. Then those who are chosen, it means that the gifts are supposed to be used beyond their family. So these are the people who are supposed to be serving a bigger community. They're people who are supposed to be serving outside just their family, set up outside their bloodline and their ancestral lineage, but their community. So they have to be practitioners. We're talking about, we're talking about these remarkable leaders that we've had in our continent, the leaders that we've had in the world, the artists and the musicians that we've had. And yeah, speaking about artists and musicians, my eyes just became teary. For those who don't know, in South Africa, there was a brutal killing of one of the greatest musicians, Keenan Fox, famously known as AKA. So yeah, bring it, Nana. They're gonna bring my food, tribe, because I don't eat after 9, so I need to make sure that I can eat something. So yeah, it was, and for me, irrespective of what a person does, nobody deserves to be killed like that. I think that there's so much going on there, social tweets, where people are saying things and all of that, and yes, things can be valid, but um, thank you, Nan. No human life uh, deserves to be taken in such a brutal manner. So I just wanted us to just take a few, minutes, and it's not only about Keenan Forbes. We've lost a lot of great people at the hands of violent attacks in this country. We've lost a lot of women's lives, a lot of men's lives, children's lives. So it's been a very difficult, challenging moment for a lot of us. And for those of us who are healers, who we feel things deeper than anybody can, understand that you feel the pain twice as much as other people could feel, even if you are not related or connected to someone. Hey, hey, Marcos, the empath in me cannot rejoice at any life taken, irregardless of what that life lived like. The empath in me, the healer in me, can never rejoice in a life brutally taken, irregardless of what that life lived like. I hope you got it. So, one of the clear signs one is indeed a healer is empathy. Empathy, because some people are gifted, but they're not called to become healers of a bigger community because they lack empathy. They lack empathy. Empathy is the ability for you to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. Sympathy is feeling sorry. So you cannot get into healing a community. You cannot get into healing a nation. You cannot get into healing a planet if you lack empathy. So listen very carefully. So because you are an empath, so everything you feel twice as much. That's why when things crumble, they impact you twice as much. Nandipa, thank you. Thank you for the super sticker, tribe. And it was Pila Nandipa, because I was going to remind tribes, for those who want to make donations, you're welcome to. It's not an obligation, but it's kind of also, it's a gratitude. It's an act of gratitude for the work that is brought here. So as an empath, you feel things twice as much. So when your life is collapsing and when things are falling apart, it is not just you falling apart, but it's also everything around you that feels like it's falling apart. You feel the pain not only for yourself, but those who are impacted, those who are connected to you when things fall apart. Does that make sense? So the intensity in which you feel things is doubled up, is heightened. So when you are struggling to find work because you are gifted, when you are constantly not able to keep things in your life you're not only feeling your pain of that, you're feeling the pain of others. You are feeling the pain of your children. You're feeling the pain of those who are dependent on your ability to provide. I hope you are getting it. So things fall apart because we have made agreements prior to us incarnating. Our spirit went into an agreement with Creator, Umdali, Umvelinqangi, Ramasedi, Uqamata, Mudimu, Creator, Source, Being, Divinity. So we made agreements to say, we're going to come, I am going to come, and I am going to be incarnated into a female body, a black female body, into this family for this particular mandate. And therefore, I need to be reminded of that agreement should I forget. So things are happening to the spiritually called to remind us, because the minute we incarnate into the physical body, we become human beings. We operate from the programs of people, not of spirit. So when you are a person and you are a physical body, once you become a physical body, your environment starts to actually create and inform who you are supposed to be. Thank you, Bomgazi, for the super sticker. So it does that. Your environment, your belief systems, your childhood traumas, so everything that has molded you, sometimes, actually most times, shapes you away from the mandate in which you've incarnated for. So the suffering is a reminder of why you have come here. Let that sit. The suffering is a reminder of your soul's contract. So because you had an agreement, so be clear tonight. You are not suffering because you are being punished or you are being persecuted. You are suffering. It's an awakening to who you are meant to become. When you are putting a wrong engine into a vehicle, when you are putting a Toyota engine into a Mercedes-Benz, it will collapse. It will collapse. No doubt it's painful because that's what makes us human. Remember, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. So that's the first thing, right? Things collapse as a reminder. Number one. Secondly, things collapse because it's in our collapsing. It's in the collapsing where things do fall into place. I said that in my TED talk, but things fall apart in order for them to fall into place. Okay. I might have to end my life earlier today because I don't know how to eat and talk. It doesn't work. So I'll continue with the teaching. Things fall apart in order for things to fall into place. The reason things, secondly, fall apart to fall into place, because there is aspects of who you are that are not serving who you need to become. I'm going to speak so slowly. There are aspects of who you are that are not serving who you are needing to becoming. So part of things collapsing is a death, and ain't death painful? There are aspects of you that needs to die in order for aspects of you to be awakened. Like what? For example, so I will use myself as an example. You know how I like using myself as an example. So my relationship with Mkulu ended in 2018, right? That was painful. What happened was painful. not only to me, not only to him, to our family, to our children. We had one of our children have type 1 diabetes. One of our children is a diabetic, guys. From that, and we were told when we were breaking up by Auntie Ndlanzi, your kids are gonna get sick. And it sounds like a curse, right? And it wasn't, and it's not. And this is a teaching for another time. My daughter got type 1 diabetes. And when she got type 1 diabetes, my son and I couldn't relate, right? Things that were happening to me were overwhelming. During that time of the 3-year breakup, I found myself in an abusive relationship that I've spoken into Lens about. And in that relationship, it was painful because even eating now, when I was chewing, I needed to watch how I was chewing because I was told things. I was called names. I was demoralized and broken down to the core of aspects of me that I never knew they could be broken down. So why then? Because the calling, the next level of my ascension was for me, not only to become a sangoma that's healing people, not only for me to become ukobela, but it was for me to become umnikazi wempande, meaning I was going to run a whole code of initiation. So, ukuba umnikazi wempande edlozini, what does that mean? Because I belong under Empande. So all the years, the 8 years I was a Kobela, no, the 7 years, because I became umnikazi wempande last year. So when all the 7 years, I could not do much but follow through everything that was given to me as Ukobela. So as umnikazi wempande, it means that I built my own initiation school. It's called Umkosi. So I was initiating to become a queen. And that was painful because my family was torn apart. I was torn apart. We have a daughter who's living with a chronic illness. So things fall apart because there is a greater calling. The other thing is there were aspects and traits that I had as Dineo from my own inner child wound that were a hindrance to my growth. One is that I was a control freak. I had a short temper. I got triggered very easily. So these things got healed because when I found myself in the mess of a relationship, I went and sought out help. So understand that when you are in a mess, it's an invitation for you to heal aspects of you that are unhealed. That's why things fall apart. They fall apart because you are being invited to heal aspects of you that are not healed. What tribe? 376 people viewing this and likes. Let's like, subscribe, put the notification button on. So things collapse because they no longer serve you. So the Dineo that was Dineo of 2018 was not fitting enough to run a whole mbande. So I needed to actually shred off a lot of excess debris and weight and toxicity in my personality, because a personality, it's actually not your temperament. A personality is informed by your environment. You develop your personality by the time you reach age 7, but you can change your personality. You know, Dr. Joe Dispenza speaks about person in their reality. So in order to change your reality, you need to change the person and how they relate. Yes, I hope it feels like people are getting me now. So the hardship of that breakup had to happen because mina nomkhulu were still a boy and a girl trying to run a whole mbande, trying to vusa ubukhosi obungaka, because singamakhosi avusa amanye amakhosi. So we needed to go and be shredded off. We needed to go. You see the stream that I posted, Pastor Mkulis. Sibe yidombolo, sixove, ukuthi singabi something that looks great, but the taste is not tasteful. So you go through hardship because they are actually mending broken pieces of you that are going to interfere with the greatness that is actually in store. You are being broken into pieces because there are aspects of you that are not going to serve the greatness that awaits you. So let's also be clear, because Anel, I want to speak to your question. Do amadlozi bring rape? Amadlozi bring nothing, guys. We have such a deep God wound that has made us fear Creator, Umdali, Unkulunkulu, Ramasedi. Therefore, it made us fear anyone who we know is closest to Mudim. The fear we have towards our ancestors is actually a trauma wound that we need to go and heal. Amadlozi don't bring calamities. They allow things to happen because we also have moved away from them. We have no connection and no relation. And when you have relation, you will follow through the guidance of your ancestors. The other reason, ngiyabonga, hayi guys, yabona namhlanje hayi niyakhanyisa shem. Hey, namhlanje ngiyakhanyisa, ngiyabonga kakhulu. Sandla phezu kwesinye. Amakhehla amadala ngiyazibongela. Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Thank you so much, Portia nokubonga. Mselogu, thank you, I appreciate it. So remember, Uguti, you are a spiritual healer. Certain things, in order for you to have the know-how to heal, you need to experience them yourself. So things do collapse because we become patients, and it's through us healing our elements, then we learn the things we need to learn. Not everything uzoyithole phehlweni. Not everything uzoyithole phehlweni. But this is not about people self-initiating, and this is not about people going and saying, I'm healing on my own. No, no, no. I had Ashika Singh, who is my coach. I had Joy Mukhami during those times who held space for me, because when you are emotionally involved, you can't see these things. You can't understand these things. You can't get it. You need people who are skilled and trained and who are neutral to be able to help you get what you're supposed to get from the experiences that you're experiencing. We go through pain because we have to get what we call trauma wisdom. We have to get what we call trauma wisdom. It's actually, I think it's Dr. Bruce Perry who said that, or Dr. Gabo Mate, I'm not sure, one of the greatest brilliant psychiatrists who are looking at trauma at all angles, because they're understanding that the humans exist in the multidimensional aspects. The other things are collapsing because they are not just your things. There are things, there is a pathology in the family. You are experiencing it because you are the one who's called to heal it. You are experiencing because it is a pathology, you are called to heal it. Let me stop there. I've mentioned about 6 reasons why things fall apart. Things are falling apart not to collapse you, but is to collapse the things in you that no longer serve you. Things are falling apart not to destroy you, but actually to plant seeds in you. We need you to be in a mature state. Indlu yakhiwa kuhlanganisa broken things to build it, right? So it's in the mess. And manure is mess, guys. It's manure. Lungile Mthetwa, thank you. Thank you for the contribution. I appreciate it. So those things have to be hlanganisas, because if the soil is not tilted and made right, the seed will not grow to become ripe. So also we feel so overwhelmed right now as this generation, because one of the things, the programmings that is running as a template is the one of entitlement. We are a generation that has been groomed to feel entitled, not to work for things, not to earn greatness, not to earn royalty, not to earn your seat on the throne, but to be entitled because just because you come from a royal bloodline, it does not deem you fit to be a king or a queen. Just because you are born from a royal bloodline, it does not automatically make you queen or king. You need to be initiated into the throne, and initiation needs to strip you of your ego. So the other thing, when you look at everything else, we are being collapsed because our egos need to die. We can't heal from an egotistic state because we become healers that are self-preserving. We become healers that are manipulative. We become healers that are destructive. We become healers that are misleading. We become false light healers. We manipulate and distort things. And I say we, not they, we. Because we are all caught up in this trap. So things need to collapse, because the minute you are running on an egotistic marathon or journey, it's me, myself, and I, mina. Vele fanele collapse. Indeed, if you are called for not those things, this will collapse. Because the ego must die, so truly the spirit can emerge. Things also collapse because they need to be healed. Let's take questions. Maybe I can try it. Tribe, let's get your questions. I see emojis. People are sad. People are angry. I'm great. Feel all those things, because you can't heal that which you don't feel. You will not heal if you don't feel it. Feel it, because it means you need healing. Coco, I'm tired of suffering, tired of being afraid of the unknown. It's not ego. Partly it is. Partly it's other things, Lucia, that I've mentioned here. I've mentioned a lot of things. But do you see what happens when we get emotionally triggered? Our ability to listen, to understand, becomes also challenged. Our ability to listen, to understand, becomes challenged, because I've triggered a lot of people and I understand. That which you're feeling is valid. Your feelings are valid. They're there because they need healing. They're coming through because they need healing. Aw, Dimakatso, Bulaisani, Sandla phezu kwesinye. Ngiyabonga. Florence, thank you. Florence is saying thank you for doing this in English. It's hard. We are also being cultivated to be empaths. How are you going to have the patience to work with people when you have not been through some of the things they've been through? The empathy I have with women who stay in abusive relationship is none like what I had before, because I'd never understood. I was like, Coco, I mean, it's clear, leave. But now I understand things like trauma bonding. I understand things like love bombing, things that I never had an idea of, things I never thought I would find myself there. So we get taken through things because we are actually being taught lessons through our own experiences, to be wisdom to be applied in our work. It's much harder when your calling is bigger. The greater the calling, the bigger the challenges. The greater the calling, the harder the mountains you have to summit. When does it stop? Please take their people take their lives due to this. Well, the thing is that, I mean, people take their lives because we have not normalized people feeling unwell. People take their lives for a variety of reasons, not because of this, for many reasons. People take their life because mental health and wellness has been seen as a non-priority, not only in this country, but in this world. People take their life because we are still demonizing gifted people. People don't feel like they can come out and be accepted. People get kill themselves because they are othered. People kill themselves because they are bullied. There's a lot of other reasons. We can't look at one, but there's a lot of other reasons. Loiso says lived experiences teach profound understandings. True. We are being shed off of all skin. It is very important. I mean, it's very painful. Hence, it's very important. So now that you know, that's why you need support. It does not need to be your family. If your family is not there, find someone, find a friend who you know will understand what you're going through. Find a acquaintance, find a healer who can be able to hold space for you. But also act yenza kahle nawe landelela. And mengithi landelela, I'm not saying ukuthi be a travel and a tourism of Sangoma Ndumbas, because some of our things are collapsing because we are Sangoma Ndumbas. We need to be very correct. We don't have the patience to see things through. We don't want to undertake a process, but we want the results. Some of us don't want the process, they just want results. That's why things collapse. That's the truth. The other side of the coin is that things collapse because we don't want the process, we want results. We don't want to put in the work, but we want to reap the fruits. Thank you for the clarification, Coco. I used to think I was being punished. No, no one is punishing you. It's not a punishment. Punishment is such a punitive word, right? Such a harsh word because, again, it's taken from, again, it continuously demonizes the gifted. Is the trauma you go through directly related to what you have to fix or gain wisdom? Partly your trauma is connected to the work that you are called to do. I work with a lot of women, and I understand how a lot of us have experienced sexual violations and traumas. So I went through, yeah, I got violated from the age of 3 years until I was 18. Well, no, not until I was 18. The violations happened in my other relationship as well. So, and I just got it now. In the 41 going to 42 years of my life, I'm just getting all of these things now. Also, things will repeat themselves in different faces and places until you heal them. Things will repeat themselves and reappear in your life in different places, people, spaces, persons until you heal them. I'm scared of myself. I hear, see things, and angry at the same time because I never struggle like this. Yeah, you need to look into it and try. Not everybody who's tuned in here is because they're supposed to become spiritual healers. We are going through the most as a country. I open up by speaking about some of the tragedies we've experienced. So there's a lot we are going through. So we really need a lot of emotional and mental support. There's a lot that's happening. There's a lot that's happening. God, is it true when you dream today? But Martha, we're speaking about the I mean, okay, maybe I guess it's connected. When you dream today and it happens tomorrow, I don't understand your question. And I think you keep on repeating it. I don't understand what you're asking me. I'm not sure. Abusive relationships. Yeah, you see, and remember, tribe, being in certain situations, there's no excuse, and we can't say, oh, the calling made me. No, 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 no. What has happened to you as a child is not your fault, can never be your fault. No, what happens to you is never your fault. What you do about what happened to you, it's on you, it's your responsibility. Right? Because as a child, you had to abide by the adults that raised you, that were there for you. So, and also things happen to you as a child, it can never be your fault. But we find ourselves in abusive relationships because our inner children have been abused. We are finding ourselves in abusive relationship because we've had abusive childhoods, and those relationships feel familiar. We get into relationships for familiarity, not for connection, for what feels familiar. When you find a kind, sweet man like Kulum Kasha, so Mina, I'm used to aggression, I'm used to all of this. That's how I was raised. This is the environment I grew up in. It was brutal. I've been assaulted from the ages of 3, guys. So that's what was familiar. And I never could understand, Guti, why am I struggling? I always needed, and I only realized that when I was doing the healing work, healing that really, like, how did an intelligent woman like myself find myself in that relationship? It's because of my childhood traumas. Your trauma is not your fault, it's your responsibility to heal it. Yeah, because you are breaking a pathology. You heal that so that your daughters and your children's children don't have to go through it. It looks like the next topic is going to be childhood traumas because people are bringing it up quite a lot. Gogo, I do not have childhood traumas. You do. I'm with a person who has. I was attracted to him because he was broken bad. I saw someone I needed fixing. The fact that you think you can rescue people, because a rescuer, the hero archetype is also a broken child. So they not, they probably are. You are staying there and needing to fix it because something in your childhood taught you that it is your responsibility to fix other people. You probably were the adult of your parents. You were the one who had to take responsibility. You were an adult child. That's why you're taking responsibility to somebody else. It has nothing to do with because you like fixing. When you're a fixer, you also have what we call a people pleaser trauma response. And let me not say a lot and start managing pulabantula. It's cool. It's cool. Suffering from severe pains. Done all the tests and the doctors don't see anything. I met a stranger and told me I have a calling, but I won't be okay until I acknowledge my calling. Go look into it. Go consult. Get more input on that. Try. Please remember to subscribe, like. Please press your like button when you are on YouTube, and put the notifications on. Knowing this information, how would we go about healing? And you tell us the lessons learned from the trauma. That will be a topic I'll have to speak about. Togoza Koko, thank you for today's talk. It so resonates with me. Yeah. Oh, Matumelo, thank you. Looking good, feel good, guys. These are the kimonos. If you go onto Karanga_royalty, it's on Instagram. You can order the kimonos. We also have the Dozi timing is perfect timing t-shirts as well that you can order. Samke, I hope you are here. There's a few people who were responding and asking if we can ship. You will have to pay outside of course, like outside our parameters, you'll have to pay for shipping, like how you would when you're ordering online. I like the topic, Gogo. Sometimes I just want them to take me and finish their business because whenever I consult, they say, when are you on work for someone because you have a calling, but I'm hungry by the time, and how will I finish their business without money? That's true, right? That's very true. But you see, that's the way. You see what I'm saying? I think these are some of the things. I don't know if it's a teaching I need to do where we think it's them taking us, because we are thinking that our ancestors are here to dictate. They're here to guide. They are guides, not dictating. They're here to work with us at the level in which we are also able to work with them. So the thing here, Gogo, when you go and they tell you these things, like, okay, what must I do? Ngoba uyalitshela ukuthi bogogo ngiyanizwa nithi ngiyotshoza there's sometimes I tell my patients ukuthi go phahla batshela ukuthi if ngempela kufanele ngiyenze lento le, khanyisani, whatever that they bring, then that's a sign. What I found though with people, because I've helped some people, and I would say to them, okay, let's do this ritual to open things up a little bit. But please, when they open up, come back. Buya. Buya uzo koka inkomo zala emakhosini because asiyimali kaDineo le. Imali yala makhosi. people don't come back. Or I tell you, it's the minute you get a job, the first money you get, this and this must be done. Please let me know. They don't come back. Then I'll see them 3 years later. Hey, Coco, what better? Yes, that job I was promised to is about permanently. The next thing, hey, you know, what paid. There's a lot of reasons why things also, I was just mentioning this in hindsight, there's a lot of other things that also lead things from collapsing. It's the inconsistencies in how we do things when we know that we are called. Tembi, so you'll have to catch up because I'm about to close. I hear that certain things happen to us to get us closer to who we are as a reminder, but I can't seem to reconcile it. Such reminders are so traumatic, like car accidents, near-death experiences. You can't really reconcile. That's why when you go through those experiences, you do need people to be able to facilitate what we call post-traumatic uh, counseling. And normally it would be advisable to find people who are also spiritually embedded in their practices. So at the institute, I do life coaching. We've got Umam Lulu who does, and this is my for people who've been through trauma. Mam Lulu does the first session is about 2 to 3 hours of trauma counseling. She's amazing because I've seen people who've had a traumatic experience. Because when you encounter a misfortune, the fact that afterwards you couldn't talk about it, you had no one holding space, your brain goes into dysregulation and there's nothing you have done to soothe it and to get regulated again. That's what creates the trauma. That's what makes it traumatic. Because if you get into an incident and then immediately call somebody, you talk about it, you talk about how you feel and what's going, that gets your brain regulated again. So Tina, when we go through things, we like, I over strong, at least to survive it. That's not how to deal with somebody who's been through a tragedy. Or we want to prescribe things instead of like, what do you need? Instead of showing up, sometimes nobody needs you to say anything. They just need you to listen. I'm not doing dreams, James, please. You're interested in the trauma counseling, Mabatu, please contact the institute and do say that. We've got a trauma counselor, we've got a psychologist, and we've got me, and then me and Kulu also do relationship coaching. And this is not only in terms of how people relate, but advising people on relationships and how to, when people want to know if they're spiritually compatible, what are the things, the rituals, amasigo, traditions they need to do, those kind of things. So that's what we do at the Institute. Happy to see you all, tribe members. Like I said, good see, my time is very little today. Please recommend topics. You can go on my Instagram and send me a DM of topics that you want me to discuss, or you can throw in a quick message here while I'm here. What are the topics? Because I will see you next week around the same time, and then we can expand on things. And I hope that you found this insightful and eye-opening, and I wish you a fruitful healing journey. And because it's a journey, be gentle on yourself, be patient with yourself. It is a lot of work, it is painful work, but it is worth it. It is worth it, guys. I'm a living testimony of that. It is worth it. And find the right kinds of tribe that will hold you when you go through the most. Because whether gifted or not, life happens. It's the nature, it's the order of things. That's actually natural order. It's called cosmic orders. There's summer, there's winter, there's spring. We're not always gonna be springing and blazing and slaying. We sometimes have to go into winter to hibernate, to retract, to retreat so we can reflect and rejuvenate and come back much more better and much more stronger. Thank you very much, tribe. Good night.